Life is too expensive in Canada. I don't need to tell you that. You know. If you've ever looked at buying a house in recent years or you pay for groceries on a regular basis, you know exactly what I mean when I say it's just getting too expensive. And this time of year with Christmas coming up, people feel that even more than usual because people are buying more food to host dinners for their families. They're spending time at home more with work being closed or schools being closed. And you feel the pinch of every single bill. You feel the stress mounting on you as you look at your bank account and see it getting lower and lower. And it's not because you're going on vacation or doing anything special. It's because you're just trying to get by. You see, I remember when I was a kid and seeing my mom try to get through the holidays. And she raised 3 children by herself. She did everything she could to give us a special Christmas. And as a kid, you don't really appreciate it, right? Because you're just focused on your gifts and you want the new PlayStation video game or you want some candy. But as I get older, every year that goes by, I appreciate what my mother did for us more and more. I appreciate how much she had to sacrifice and plan just to get her money together so she could give her kids a holiday. And right now across Canada, there's moms and dads going through that exact same thing right now. And I wish I could tell you that the federal government has a plan for how to make things more affordable. I wish I could tell you that food in particular, one of our regular expenses that everybody has to deal with, is going to get cheaper. But all of the information and data suggests that it's only going to get more expensive in 2026, not less expensive. And I don't say that to stress you out. Believe me, I'm not trying to add more to your plate. I just want you to understand the gap between what you see and feel every day and what the federal government in Ottawa is doing to make your life easier, or more accurately, what it's not doing to make your life easier. There was a report that came out about the cost of food for 2026. And it's produced by Dalhousie University, but it's got professors from universities across Canada involved in doing this research. And what they found that there's going to be an up to 7% increase in the cost of grocery items next year. This applies to baked goods, dairy, eggs, meat, fruit, even buying food at a restaurant, of course, because restaurants are also buying groceries in order to make what you might buy. Vegetables, seafood, everything's projected to go up. Already, after 2025, where we saw food become so unaffordable, we're seeing projections that it's going to get even worse. For the average household of 4 people, you can expect to spend $1,000 more next year on groceries. Now ask yourself, as you think about your own financial situation looking ahead to 2026, are you expecting to have an extra $1,000 just lying around to help you get through the day-to-day? For most people, that's not the case. In fact, you look at our economy and you look at the job market, people are just trying to bunker down and get through it. And yet the cost of day-to-day necessities is going up. So a natural question to ask is, what's the plan? Well, I would like to tell you that the federal government has a plan, but it doesn't appear that way. There are 2 major things I would love to see the federal government do to change the cost of food in this country. The first thing is address taxation. There are taxes on Canadian agriculture. There are taxes on food packaging. There are taxes that affect the cost of every item that winds up on a grocery shelf that gets passed on to you as a consumer. And the federal government has had numerous opportunities to adopt conservative proposals to lower taxes that would lead to lower food prices, and they have not taken us up on that offer. It's a shame. But there's a bigger thing that also needs to change, and that's competition in the grocery industry. This is something you might not know a lot about, because when you go to buy groceries, you see all different brands and names at the grocery store. But a very small number of large corporations own all of those chains. The vast majority of groceries being sold in this country, the vast majority of grocery options available to you, are actually controlled by a very small number of companies, which means there's not a lot of competition in the industry, which therefore means there's not an effort to earn your business by giving you more competitive prices. And it's not just me who believes this. Canada's Competition Bureau has recommended to the federal government for years to increase competition, allow for more businesses, including small and medium businesses, to sell groceries in this country. So that way there's more competition for your dollar. And they might actually sell you something at a cheaper rate. But the federal government isn't entertaining that idea either. So we see two possibilities that could, in the short term and the long term, bring down the cost of groceries. And the federal government here in Ottawa just doesn't want to do those things, leaving you with a projected higher grocery bill for 2026. Again, I know this can be a stressful time of year, and I don't say this to stress you out. I just want you to know that what you see and feel on the ground in your day-to-day life is not being reflected in the priorities of the federal government. And as a member of parliament, I'm sharing this with you because I believe that's wrong. I believe your priorities should be the federal government's priorities. And I believe when we get a report showing that the cost of groceries is going to go up, we should be taking that very seriously. But that's not what Mark Carney is up to here in Ottawa. That's not a priority for him, even though it's a priority for you. And when we talk about restoring the North and giving young Canadians a chance at a good quality of life, these are the kind of issues we need to tackle. Because I hear from students on a regular basis who tell me that they are anxious and nervous about the future because of the affordability problem. And I hear from students who question when and if they should even start a family because they're concerned about whether they can afford it. That is not a healthy Canada, and that is not a healthy future for our country. And that's why we've got to take the affordability crisis seriously. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas with your families, and I thank you for joining us to restore the North.